Hello there, ladies and
Hello.
gentlemen. Oh, we got Continental. Again, sorry about the confusing start, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the tracc.eu Continental Circus with myself, Dirtico High, the Italian judge of that, and our producer, Psycho, doing the hard work behind the scenes. As expected by the name, this is going to be a bit chaotic, perhaps, around here to this time. But this is our off-season event, the Continental Circus. I believe, Jojo, do you know any more about it? Because admittedly, I jumped in a bit last minute.
Yes, indeed, I know. The Continental Circus is going to be a 5 races championship that is going to touch all corners of the globe, or well, all continents across the globe. We're going to start here in Oceania at around Bathurst. Then we're going to go to the Americas at Laguna Seca, then to Asia at how's it called? Suzuka? I forgot the name. Then to Africa at Kyalami, and the grand finale in Europe at Spa-Francorchamps. Now, as you might have guessed from the beginning of the live stream, it's not just going to be the Continental Circus. The commentary booth is also going to be a massive circus. So, yeah, get ready for this one because it's going to be a very fun one for both the right and the wrong reasons. One more thing to talk about when it comes to this championship. This is Multiclass. We have GT3s and GT4s on track at the same time. And speaking of GT4s, right there in P2, we have temporarily a Giga Chad with a Maserati GT4. So that person, yes. I appreciate you. I appreciate Zaid Sadi.
Yeah, Zaid Sadi there in the glorious Maserati Quattroporte, I think. Admittedly, I'm not too hot on the GT4 cars.
That's a
Gran
Turismo.
Oh! Not a good start to the qualifying around Mount Panorama here. Probably no better place to start the Continental Circus, if I'm honest. The winding, tough hills of Mount Panorama here.
Yeah.
A lot of us know in the sim racing world. Oh, yes. Both in the sim racing world.
Panorama.
Yeah.
God.
Both in sim racing and in the real world, this place is known to be one heck of a challenge at the best of times. So it's going to be interesting, none the least, to find out how some of our drivers deal with the additional challenge of multi-class. Now, I will say that I have seen, I think the real Bathurst 12 Hours does have GT3 and GT4 traffic.
Yes.
But I don't think I've ever seen it both in sim racing, so this is going to be a first for me.
It's not going to be a first for me because I've actually done multi-class around Bathurst myself. The differences are the real life, how's it called? Race, the Bathurst 12 Hours, only has a bunch of GT4s because it's like 95% GT3s. But when it comes to multi-class in sim racing, you really need to be careful around the mountain. Like, it's going to be a nightmare. You are basically going in no overtakes, nowhere. Be careful. You may send it on traffic in 1 or 2 points. Right, like the dipper right here that we're going to see Zed Sadi take on right now. And maybe at Skyline, I've done that with mixed results. But yeah, the main straights, like the first straight whose name I forgot, and then Coro straight, the start finish straight, that's where you usually do your lapping with the slower car classes.
So it's going to be a challenging one for our GT3 drivers to find their way around without trampling all over the GT4s. But then again, this is all part of the challenge. It's why racing is what it is, because racing on your own is expensive, and multi-class was brought in to try and keep the costs down IRL. But hopefully, as we still ride on Bob Zaid Sadi here, so it's really interesting because we've got quite a range of drivers even in the field as it is. Some of our GT3 regulars, Zaid Sadi himself, admittedly in a GT4 at the moment. There's Isaac Umbris, I believe, in his classic Mercedes AMG.
Yes.
Technoburst USA driver, of course, and I believe last season's pro champion in VTrack, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes, indeed. Yes, Isaac Umbris won VTrack in his Mercedes. And nobody really believed that. Like, I remember that it was me and Adrian here at the commentary booth, and we were like, wait, Psycho won. Psycho won on points. Wait, Psycho. Isaac. Joining Techno Burst and I keep on confusing drivers left and right. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
But yes, we couldn't believe it. It was incredible.
Indeed. Although the first of the qualifying laps coming in now, including the likes of Biggie Hugs, I think. Previous lap a 1:13.157 in the Ginetta GT, aptly titled Clown Car Ginetta GT4. Certainly an interesting little vehicle. Of course, the only time I've seen it racing myself is the odd championship where, of course, Jimmy Broadbent got a seat for one. But of course, these GT3s and GT4s should be well known throughout the world as they are standardized to some degree.
Yes.
Sasho Dekshov, apologies for butchering surname today, my throat is not in the best condition. A 2:13.8 behind Biggie Hugs. Sean KP just sneaking a pole in the Camaro, the Tide-Pod Camaro, an interesting choice. With a 13.102, although I haven't seen any GT3s put times in yet. I suppose that is one of the biggest.
I think they have not started because the qualifying is split between the two of them. So right now we're going to see the GT4s on track, and then I think later the GT3s.
Yes, that would explain it. So yeah, just clearly I got dragged in at the last minute and didn't get a chance to do my homework.
Don't worry, it's going to be alright.
It's fine. This Continental Circus not just for the drivers, but for us in the staff as well. Those we see Daniel Steinhaus trying to make that.
Camaro in the wall!
What's that?
And then a bunch of cars in the wall. The traffic around Skyline. Like, I was about to say, the Camaro is going to slow that BMW down in more ways than one.
Yeah, unfortunately, it looks like Cat just took a little bit too much curb down through the S's into the dipper there and just caught the BMW off guard. Hopefully they managed to get a time in because time is certainly looking rather tight at the moment.
Yeah, I think the drivers are only going to have 2 more occasions. And we see Biggie Hugs still in the lead, that they took them away from Song. And I think that's the first 2:12 in the GT4s that we've seen in this session.
Yeah, being a 2:12.952, so the times are coming down. Air and track temp is 23 and 29 Celsius respectively. Apologies for those that use imperial units, I do not know how to convert in my head. But it's pretty reasonable out there, it's not too hot as Bathurst can be.
Yeah, indeed, that is right. It's also not the coldest one, it's just the temperature you would expect when it comes to daylight. We see also Eric Hutter in the oh god, that's a Mantei. On the Mercedes, that's a good sight. Right now in P7 with the... Okay. Racing for the Bagu team. Right now 3.1 seconds behind the GT4 pole, so that's a 2:16.0. Which is still a pretty good time of his considered. Like, Bathurst is not an easy track. GT4s are somewhat tricky to get right to actually go really fast. So a 2:16 is actually a pretty good lap time. However, we're going to see Eric Hutter have traffic with the slower Mercedes GT4 ahead of them. And yeah, we can see right here into Skyline, they're losing so much time.
All slowed up behind the...
Alex Kutro! With the Cayman, with a 2:11.795, that's quick.
Alex. I was going to say there's a couple of surprise entries there. 2 Porsche Cayman 718s there of Alex Curto, our new and current pole sitter for GT4, and also Amet Ohm there. But yeah, sort of back through down into the mountain there. That was the Andrea Meraldi, I think, of the Alpine Esports car, slowing up the Mercedes. One of the difficult things about open qualifying, and something that sometimes I think is missing in some events in the likes of iRacing, for example, is that you have to try and get those times you can with distractions, rather, like you would in the real world. So it's not as easy just a proverbially hot lap for hours and hours to get that perfect lap in. You have to deal with everything that's thrown at you, and you might not get the perfect time. Although, considering although knowing what I know about the Porsche, Alex must have been wheeling the life off that thing, because the Porsche Cayman, like with the 911 GT3s, we see three cars go off at the end of Hell Corner to end the GT4 qualifying. GT3 is starting to make their way out onto the track.
GT4 should now reset back to the pits if they can, please. If GT4, if you're listening to us, reset back to the pits. Your time is over.
Yes, your time has come. Race controller said you've had your chance. Waiting for Met Ohm to either finish her lap or reset to the pit lane. Although someone else who's wheeling the life out of that Cayman GT4. I know from my experience driving this thing in admittedly iRacing, so there's a degree of bias there. Oh.
Yeah. Yeah, it's the same for me in Race Room. Those Cayman GT4s are actually sketchy. Though this Cayman in particular is the older generation of the GT4s, so it's not the 718. It is a bit less sketchy, but nonetheless still a bit of a death trap. And now we see the GT3s run up the mountain.
Although we do see
qualifying being over officially. That's
although we're seeing an erroneous GT4 there of Meraldi. That's probably going to get the ire of race control.
Yeah, you need to reset back to the pits, Andrea. And we see now the GT3s run up the mountain with Kaito Nasa. And again, this GT4 right there, that just... that's dangerous.
Yeah. Yeah.
Kaito Nasa in the Mustang. That's the only Mustang in the field.
I believe so, for the time being. But yeah, no, what I was going to say about the GT4s versus our GT3s here is that the GT4s, due to their significant difference and lack of aero versus their GT3 counterparts, you really do have to rely heavily on the mechanical grip that the cars can give, as we see Kaito here all over the rear Aston Martin, I believe, of... who is that ahead? Zul Akihara, another Techno Burst racer. As you can see there, like, the Conrod straight here getting rather messy. Some people trying to find a gap now.
Yeah, Conrod Street is always going to be a bit of a mess, especially with traffic. Though at the same time, it's also going to be the easiest place for you to deal with traffic, because it is the part of the track where you can just power through as much as you can.
Well,
you have space. There is technically the straight after the first corner, whose name I forgot, but in general, Conrod Straight is going to be your go-to. Like, your...
although that is based on the assumption that the GT4s are not 2 or 3 wide ahead of you.
Yes, that's correct. But at the same time, on the straight after turn 1, the mountain straight, if the GT3s are still going to be 2-3 wide, it's going to be the same as Conrod Straight. And we see here Edgar Herrera in the boat lane. Hell yes, that's a... I love Bentleys. Sorry.
Yes, the good old big British Bentley.
This brings back memories. Well, that's an interesting line into Quarry Bend. And now we see the GT3s take on the mountain. Now we see Herrera right at the cutting, then Griffiths Mount. We see the Bentley really taking on these corners. I wouldn't say easily, but without a lot of issues. Like, it just eats curves. And yeah, we see grazing also the walls. That's wow.
Absolutely. As I know, before I unfortunately decided not to race today, because I was planning to race Bathurst, but unfortunately I thought it wise, due to some health concerns, to take the back seat on this one. Is that I know that from my time driving Mount Panorama in the 12 hours that there's a lot of commitment needed all around the mountain. As we see, Ace of the Empire here currently sat on pole with a 2:01.557 in the Ferrari 296. With as she's just been nipped in the bud by Charlie Byrne, I believe. Oh no, Zeitz has just coming in, so that was gone very quickly changed there. Which
and we see Mercedes being very strong with top 2. And then Isaac, we know that he is strong, but he's actually quite far for the time being.
Yeah, I don't think that was maybe the best lap that Isaac would have wanted, but then again, sometimes this is just qualifying. There's still time for things to change in the race.
Yeah.
But we do have a good 5 minutes to see if anything changes. But at the minute, yeah, that Zeitz there with a 201.087, and then back to Byrne there with a 1.285. So it's quite tight there between the top 3 for the time being. But of course, we've got forgive me. Who is that? That is
Gary Slater in P8
Gary
right now with the another 296. I mean, when it comes to GT3s, I think we're seeing less variety compared to the GT4 field. Because in GT4, we literally saw everything. Like all the cars, even the Maserati being used. Right now, I don't think we're seeing as much variety in the GT3 field. Yes, there is the Bentley and Kaito with the Ford. But at the same time, the top
don't forget
runners
about,
are only the same car roughly.
You say that, but don't forget about DJ Overdrive in the Lexus RCF. A car that is rarely seen in active competition these days outside of the American IMSA series, IRL. A car that I'd love for us to have. Well, that and the noise it makes. I'd love for this to come to iRacing. But I guess based purely on hunches, and I have no raw facts to back this up, I believe, and it is a hunch, so there's the tinfoil hat and the salt, that it's a relationship thing with Toyota as to why IMSA and iRacing don't currently have the car. Although coming around the final corner, the number 30 Mercedes there, Martin Schux, puts themselves up into P5 there. Correction, now P6, as Castellana in the 296s just snuck themselves ahead of Isaac there. As we see another rare sight, one of 2 McLarens in the GT3 field today. Still staying in P9 with a 203.6, still a respectable time.
Now we see Jan Paul. Oh god, that's the other Manthey non-Porsche car in the race. That's a Ferrari 296 from Manthey.
Yeah.
Oh god, that is a side. Oh, the camp.
As we see, off there at the
Oh, that's scary. That is scary. Probably
off there at not an ideal moment there at the chase for Decamp. Perhaps not the end of the qualifying they would have wanted. I don't think they're going to get a chance to get around again, but they look like they're waiting for a gap to try and rack up and try again.
They actually have enough time for 2 laps. So this one and then another one. They should be good for 2 more laps.
Yes, I forget the stewards just sometimes a bit more generous with allowing cars to finish their laps. Sometimes they are, sometimes they're not.
The issue is, for me, the tires. Are the tires cooked? After the spin? Because that's something that you need to worry about.
Yeah. Although lurking behind that McLaren there was the BMW. An interesting one choice there by Mentrix Sainz in the BMW M4. I never thought I'd see Mentrix in a BMW. I see him in a Ferrari and all those sorts of other cars.
Was that overdriving the wall? Did you overdriving the wall? Was that? Oh, that was an Aston Martin spinning. And the overdrive also was in the wall. Oh, yikes.
And that caught out DJ going down through the dipper, which is unfortunate because once you start a roller coaster going down the dipper, you're kind of holding on for dear life, let's just say, as someone that's had a few incidents there in practice and the race.
Oh, don't worry, Guy. It's going to be alright. You don't have to deal with this.
In my defense, when I had my accident in the Bathurst 12-hour, one, I blamed the leader because they did a 360 and they got spooked by the smoke, and 2, it was dry. It was changeable conditions. You see any smoke on the mountain, anyone will instantly. It will distract anybody.
Yes, I mean it's always someone else's fault. Am I right?
I mean, I could have not touched the curbing, but that's me. And it was. That's one of the fun things about racing. It's that you can. It's all about you challenging yourself versus a litany of other different things going at once. As we see Decamp very, very aggressively using the exit curb into the chase there, down into through Murray's corner, a corner that I can never get right.
And P5. That's 5.
That's a solid
8
improvement.
behind pole position, which is... Oh, wow. I just realized that pole position actually went faster than the IRL record for GT3s around Bathurst by, I think, more than 1 second.
Jesus, yeah, 2 minute 0.752 for Zeitz, followed by Ace of the Empire and the 296 of 2 minute 0.952. That's pretty close from the top two there, but we've still got Zeitz is out on a lap, Burns on another lap, although currently a couple hundreds down on their delta. We've also got Camp and
Castellani in the pits. Isaac Cambras wasn't able to improve, and he's going to be in 6th, 1.1 seconds behind pole position.
It doesn't look like
a pretty interesting qualifying, not going to lie.
Yeah, Zeitz doesn't look like they're going to improve. Their delta is just going up and up and up, but we see Byrne and De Camp now still with a green delta, shall we say?
Yeah.
And seeing
Byrne, they lost so much in the chase. That like 8 tenths behind right now. That's yikes.
Yeah,
so
unfortunate.
De Camp, Gary Slater, and then a bunch of other cars. I think the two BMWs as well. They are all improving. Camp has half a second of green delta, so that should put them square in P3.
Indeed, yeah. We'll have to wait and see for De Camp to come across the line now, running down the long Conrod straight through the kink into the braking zone for the chase. Bring it down second gear to the left apex, then the right to open her up the corner using the exit curb where allowed, and then the run down into Murray's corner, which is late apex with a horrible curb on the inside there, which could very easily push you wide.
It's a nightmare. And yes, that's P3. 3 tenths behind pole position. Good lap.
With a 201.1 there from De Camp in the 296.
Very nice.
Yeah. And I think last but not least might be our buddy and friend of the VTuber side of community here at tracc.eu, Iron Mentrix, comes across the line to improve, I think. Rightio, and now for the fun bit.
That was a good qualifying. Now the fun and scary bit.
Indeed.
Pain.
So, would you like me to do the GT3s and you can have fun with the GT4s?
Yes, please.
Rightio, so leading our GT3 field today is Zeitz in the 711 AMG Mercedes there, followed by Ace of the Empire alongside in P2, De Camp in another 296 P3, another Mercedes Seaburn in P4, and Castellani P5 in a Ferrari. God, there's nothing but Ferrari and Mercedes in the minute, isn't it? Isaac Umbrus from Technoburst in P6, another Mercedes AMG. Marshall Sux in P7, number 30 AMG Mercedes, and then an Aston Martin of Chernov there, the 663, followed by Etz in the McLaren, Slater rounding out the top 10 in another 296, Elucidator, apologies if I made a mess of your surname, in another Mercedes AMG, Kaito Nasa in the Soul Ford Mustang GT3, followed by Zul Akihara there in the Aston Martin, Jan Pol in the 296, Herrera there in the 662 Bentley, Esri in the BMW M4, Hasri in the 26 Lexus, and DJ Overdrive, I believe, rounding out our GT3 field. Wait, no, I missed Quaglitorio and Imentrix Saints. Apologies for the final two there.
Quagliato and Bentrix. Now the GT4s have Alex Kudrow in P1 with the number 20 Cayman, then Billy Huggs with the 95 Ginetta in P2, then we have Dechov with the Mercedes in P4, Seonki P in the tight pod Camaro, good number by the way, then we have Steinhaus in the BMW M4, followed by Omet Om in the number 1 Porsche Cayman, followed by Eric Gregis in the Mercedes GT4, then,
and Eric Cotter.
That's Cotter, my bad, followed by Eric Gregis, then Sadie, the Giga Chad in the Maserati, then we have FN in the Lone Alpine, I think, no, that's 2 Alpine. So in the first Alpine, then Adrian Dabrowka in the number 66 Aston Martin, then Dimont in the Camaro, Kat Kisumir in the other Camaro, Ian the Terrible in the McLaren, J. Fox Foxington in the lonely Audi GT4, then S. Murray, and to finish the field, the other Alpine, Ameraldi. That's
Indeed.
a big grid.
Indeed. 37 cars planning to make their way around the famous and infamous Mount Panorama circuit. As you can see, a lot of our drivers in the field already beginning to weave a little bit and swerve and brake drag, trying to get some tyre life into those tyres. Going to be an interesting one because the track temp has come down by a degree, but of course the first lap around here can be brutal if you are not aware of your surroundings.
Yes. I'm not looking forward to lap 1 shenanigans in both fields, but I'm also not looking forward to any other lap shenanigans whenever we're going to see lap traffic. That is going to be difficult for our drivers. I mean, for the simple fact that it's Bathurst, and we have multi-class around Bathurst, and it's Bathurst again. So yeah, it's going to be a sight to behold.
Absolutely. Oh. Apologies, I had a random noise on my side. I'm not sure what that was. Yeah. It sounded like an explosion went off on my headset. That was weird.
Oh, well, I would recommend to check it.
Hopefully not. Well, I can still hear you fine. Nothing's broken, so...
Nice.
Until told otherwise, I think everything's okay.
Yes, don't jinx it. Also, I see... Wait, I see a car number 1112 in the pits. Yes, the ones in the pits. They are going to start from there.
Yeah, Darren Montes missing the start and maybe even qualifying.
Yeah, I don't know if that's a choice on purpose or not, but I mean, if they want to start from the pits in order to avoid the carnage in lap 1, that's a smart choice. But now we see the GT3 field now, Kuhai. The GT3 field now come down the Conroe Straight, and they're going to start forming their formations for the grid, for the rolling start. Now, Kuhai, go ahead, please.
Yeah, so just wondering whether, as long as that race control hold Darren Montes long enough to allow the entire GT4 field to start, because sometimes you don't get held by the game and it can cause more further problems, unless of course the game decides to put you one lap down if you try anything like that. But yeah, the field now starting to form up down.
I also see another car in the pits. Who's that?
Yes, Miraldi has returned.
Miraldi in the Alpine. Oh.
Yeah, that's hopefully nothing major going on there, but yeah, the field's starting to form up as we go into the chase. Going double file, of course. It's going to be tough for the back of the field and the GT4s when it comes to getting the green flag, as some of them will be stuck round Murray's corner.
Yeah, that will not be fun sight. That will not be fun whatsoever for them.
It's going to be challenging to say none the least.
Okay, now we see them getting into formation with Alex Kudrow at the head of the grid. Now we see the GT3s with this Constantine effect. Oh Jesus, that is getting a bit dizzy.
Indeed, so as we have Ben Zeitz come round Murray's corner, waiting for the green flag to fly, and come on,
we should go green.
Anytime now.
And there we go. It's green, and off we go for the first race of Continental Circus. We see now already some attempted dives in the top.
Yes. As we got chaos out of corner there. Couple of Ferrari Mercedes there, as well as some GT4s off further back. As we saw what looked initially like Ace of the Empire trying to make a move early on to keep P2 there, but as we see through the GT4 field now, on board riding with Steinhaus. As we switch back to our GT3 leader, little gap there already on lap 1, staying out of the carnage as you'd usually expect from the pole sitter, but still plenty of
drive through for Murray in P31.
Unfortunately, maybe it's a slight start infringement. We see things get very messy up here as we go through Quarry Corner, through Reed Park, up to Frog Hollyhead, side by side between Kaito and DJ Overdrive there. Ford versus Lexus, DJ
You
looks
really
like they
don't want
touched the
to go
wall
side by
there.
side.
Still side by side behind for DJ.
Oh yeah, Kaito got out of a tricky situation, and we saw DJ overdrive being completely over the curve right there, but I think they settled in a single line, luckily, because you don't really want to go side by side through there.
Absolutely not, but this is the danger of the mountain. Sometimes you do have to take the risk and push whatever advantage you can gain. Even though common sense says play it safe, it's all about the risk versus reward of racing. As we see our GT3 field, the bulk of them making it through the lap. A yellow flag still at Forest Elbow there, I believe, amongst the GT4s. But yeah, as we see, that was an interesting bit of defence there between a couple of cars. As Ace in the Empire is in the wall.
In the wall. You hate to see it.
What happened
here? What happened to her? Oh yeah, the car just got unsettled over the curve. Oh, that's a big shunt.
Yeah, that is just a little bit of that exit curbing there out of the chase there. Now she's trying to rejoin safely without interfering with the GT4 field. But yeah, going onto the racing line, she's really... And she pulls it right into... Asa has pulled it into the pit lane to repair the car. That's not the start Asa would have wanted.
You hate to
but
see
there's still more going on in the field.
Yeah, Omet in the lead of the GT4, so there's not just the one on the racing number, there's also the one in the category. Good job, Omet. But she's followed closely by Eric Gregis, and then right behind them, Biggie Hugs and Alex Curto are, well, very, very close. It's going to be a very interesting fight for these podium positions in the GT4s.
Yes, apologies for those missing part of lap 1 alongside us. It's going to be a tough one for us to try and see if we can review some of the footage there once the race calms down. We're going to have to see if we can go back to some of those. We should have our way to review some of the replays, but yeah, so you kept as expected around here. Batman Panorama pulling no punches, and some of our competitors falling.
The Bentley, the wall! The Bentley! What happened to the Bentley?
What happened to... Was that Dubrovka?
No, that was Herrera. That was Herrera.
Oh, that was Herrera. My apologies. Edgar Herrera there. Going into the wall.
That was scary. That was absolutely scary.
Goodness me, it's... chaos everywhere.
Yeah, we see right here. Yeah, they get all over the curb onto the gas, bonk on the wall, but luckily it doesn't seem to be a very big hit, and then they are able to go through Skyline.
Yeah.
I wouldn't say as if nothing happened, but that could have been worse.
Yeah, because that exit curb on McPhillamy Park, you can use some of it, but not a lot of it. You need to be very careful with how much you take. As we see more cars falling down the field, we've got, as we ride on board with Isaac Umbrus up into P3, despite all the chaos. And Kaito losing the rear of the Ford under braking, as well as seeing the AMG there of,
yeah, and collecting
I believe that might have been
AMG.
Chris Byrne.
He also collected the AMG, like, not on purpose, but that's what happens when you lose control of the car right there. You hate to see it.
Yeah, that Mustang really just reared its head and did not want to go in a straight line for Kaito under braking. Perhaps maybe Kaito... I can only guess is that Kaito maybe hit the brakes a bit too early and it caused the rear to come round on him.
Yeah, it's entirely possible. Like, you really don't want to see those GT3s lose control this way. You are... It hurts. It hurts to see racing cars being smashed into walls, but at the same time, that means they're going to be raced hard, and that's what we want to see.
Yes, although all the chaos behind has allowed Ben Seitz to build themselves a nice little 3.5 second gap to Castellana and Umbrus behind.
And speaking of P1, Alex Curto in P1 in the GT4s, we saw... Oh, no, never mind. We didn't see anything. My bad.
Yeah, I think we have missed something because Curto, Hugs, Hunter and Ohm have all been trading places for that lead position. Alex now back where he started on pole for GT4. Biggie Hugs close behind in that Ginetta as we ride on board with the rear wing of that Porsche Cayman there of Alex Curto, followed by its small compatriot there, the Ginetta, because they're not the largest of cars.
Yeah. Then we see Eric Hutter in P3, followed by Omet Om, Sean KP, Eric Gragis, and then the rest of the field following them. This is going to be an interesting battle for the GT4 side, I think, because the slipstream in these cars, you don't really have a lot of power, you don't really have a lot of downforce, and that means also drag. Slipstream, I think, is going to be important to an extent, but I think the most important thing is going to be nailing the exit from the corners. You don't really have any power in those cars.
Yeah, if you're not able to nail that exit, you won't be able to take advantage of any slipstream you get going along either Conrad straight as we're going here into the chase or the mountain straight.
Now we see Sasha Dekov trying to appear in the rearview mirrors of Eric Greg, but Greg is capable of keeping his how do you say that in English? I forgot. He's able to keep his chill. Like he's able to keep his
composure.
Thank you. To keep his composure. And now we see, speaking of Mercedes from Techno Burst, Isaac Ambras lost the 3rd place to the camp, and yeah, I don't see Isaac from that range being able to strike back anytime soon.
Well, Decamp was very, very aggressive in qualifying, but we'll have to see whether they can temper that aggression appropriately throughout the length of the race.
Oh, Zul on the gravel!
Oh, that was very lucky there from Zul Lakihara over coming out of McPhillamy Park towards Skyline. Notice how he kept that out of the wall is skill and bravery alone, I think, because I know I'd struggle doing such a thing as we see. Oh, DJ playing
in the wall.
Yeah, playing treating the walls of Mount Panorama like a I forget the pinball game. Unfortunately, looks like maybe a little bit too much curb as we go down into the dip. Yep, just clip the inside ball.
You have to see
left and the right, and just probably damage that Lexus. Now it doesn't look like it's turning straight. As now we flick over to the Mercedes AMG of Sasha Dekov. Yeah. Again, through the dipper there. Great corner, but terrifying if you get it wrong.
Yeah.
Because it's now down into Forest Elbow. Corner that's I feel like I'm starting to get a bit of a reputation in, but that's another story for another day.
Yeah. And now we see them on the straight. I mean, I think that Sasha has this slipstream to try and make a move on Greg. Are they going to be able to do so?
Certainly looks...
They're going side by side. Yeah, they're ahead.
Yeah, that's...
I think also Greg kind of led them to didn't want the smoke of having to deal with going side by side here.
Yeah, no.
I think this is not move.
Yeah, Greg didn't feel like it was worth sort of the battle at this point in time. It's smarter just to sit behind someone faster and let them pull you along.
Yeah, and we see that Zulakihara re-overtaking Garris later and gets that P9 back. Good overtake by Zul, textbook overtake.
Chopping and changing all over the place, although one thing I am curious about, if I could remember my keyboard shortcuts on my end, there we are. Just waiting to see how long it will be until our overall leader, Ben Zeitz, catches our GT4s. There's already one GT4 there, just being passed by Castellana there. I believe that is the GT4 of Meraldi.
Yeah, I think so. That's the Alpine. And the GT3 traffic is going to have to deal with the GT4s. It's not going to be pretty.
I don't think it will be this lap.
Whatsoever.
But I think because of the lap 1 chaos that we caught both at the end of the GT3 and in the GT4 field, respectively, there's a few stragglers around the tail end as there are current watching.
Oh, Zul!
Zul and David
there, Zulakihara. Very brave,
very aggressive,
very sandy.
Yeah, that can be done, but that was very close. Almost as David looks to try maybe go around the outside.
Yeah, you're not going to be able to do this there. Oh, never mind, there was a contact. Yeah, I think that Zul lost the position right there because of that contact, but at the same time, he has the inside, so he's going to be able to keep the 8 right here unless Ash gets a better exit. But be careful, because there is also a Ferrari that got involved in this fight. That's a 3-way fight for P8. He's going to.
Jesus.
And then we see the Ferrari. I think so.
Gary Slater looking to try and squeeze his way around the outside into the first corner, but goes very deep and almost
a bit too hard.
almost into the wall there from Slater through Griffin's Bend now. So you go up through that little kink into the cutting, and the start of the mountain really begins now.
Yeah. Man, we love to say this. We absolutely love to say this.
Although, back in our GT4 field, we missed that Eric Hutter, apologies, I'm getting my tongue twisted today, and Biggie Hoods were fighting side by side into Murray's Corner for P2 in GT4. Although
that's
Alex
a textbook overtake.
Although Alex Curtis got a huge lead at the moment.
I don't ever see him giving up that lead. We also see Song on that cover. Are they going to be able to do something about it? Also, where is Greg? Eric Greg is pretty far behind on this train of GT4s.
I believe we must...
24 overall.
We might have missed something there. Do we mean it's...
Yeah, we got confirmation from Race Control that Eric Greg has damage. And now we see the top of the GT3 field having to deal with these GT4s. As we see Ben Zeitz lapping the first few GT4s in this field and then approaching this Camaro at the back of the field.
Yeah, just starting to go through the stragglers now. That car behind, I think that's a Corvette behind, apologies.
That's the Audi of G. Foxington.
Oh, that's the Audi. My brain is not working today, I do apologise. Yeah, G. Fox.
Yeah, we also don't have a Corvette here in ECC.
I was confusing things for the other GM car. My brain is not working. Continental Circus living up to its accidental name, as we see DJ Overdrive, and I believe that was...
Asa. That's Asa in the Empire.
Yes, Ace in the Empire trying to unlap herself and regain positions. Although the nose on that of ZS S3's BMW M4 looks very sore. What have you been up to, Sunshine?
Well,
as we see Hasri.
Good.
Oh, I think there's a little bit of dooring there between DJ and the Ferrari.
Yeah, guys,
well, this was just the
you are not fighting for position, don't worry. However, DJ, RC, and Hasri are all fighting for position, so you guys can go ahead as much as you want.
Well, they say rubbing is racing, but everyone has their limits. Apologies for the slip of the tongue there. I really do apologise for that one. That's just a simple slip of the tongue. Oh, goodness me. So it's definitely going to be one of those days for us at Continental Circus.
I mean, it's a circus after all. We are living up to expectations.
Well, yeah.
Oh, was that Asa? Was that Asa in the Empire? In the wall. I saw a Ferrari butt into the wall, and yes, that was Asa.
What happened? Oh, she was backwards down Skyline. What happened there? We're going to have to see if we can get a replay of that one. Goodness.
Oh, and Asa, that's a DNF for her. Oh, poor Asa. That's just not the race for her. I feel so bad for her.
Yeah. That was just terrifying to see. I think... Oh,
Biggie Hugs and Song KP in trying to fight, and that's Matrix damage. Matrix, no! Oh, Matrix.
Matrix to the wall, and also Sean KP with damage, and also Van Greg as well was briefly off the circuit in... as we saw just in the background there, out of McPhillamy Park.
I think that's a DNF for Eric Gregis as well.
There's so many people really struggling with the mountain today.
Yeah, the mountain is really not taking any prisoners today. Wow.
It doesn't at the best of times. You mess around, you find out at Mount Panorama.
Yeah, literally Fafo. And you hate to say it. Ooh, Di Campo in the wall. That Ferrari. That's Bathurst being Bathurst, and absolutely. I think that's also lap traffic being in the way.
We'll have to wait and see there as we see Sergei Chernov trying to avoid.
Yikes!
Oh goodness, that's the.
What was that? No!
That was goodness me, I feel bad for the stewards. They're going to have a field day with this one.
Yeah, Sergei Chernov, poor guy, he was completely innocent in all of that. Poor Chernov. And now we see Gary Slater and who's the guy ahead? Ash being in this battle. They are still alive somehow.
David Ash in the McLaren. It's just absolute bloodbath all of a sudden. The multi-class traffic really not. Things really getting confusing.
And we see Sergei Chernov pulling into the pits, I think. Yes. With that broken Aston Martin trying to steer it with that broken suspensions and aerodynamics in the pits. I feel so bad for them. Oh, that sucks. That absolutely sucks.
That was an absolute. I know this. It was absolutely just. I'm beyond words with some of that. It's just so many incidents, such a short space of time. We haven't even had a chance to go back and look at what happened in lap 1. Yeah,
that's like 18 minutes of racing. There are still 42 left of running, and we're already seeing quite a lot of deaths and crashes and so on and so forth. Wow, we can only hope that that's it for the rest of the race. But knowing myself, I probably just jinxed half of the field. So sorry in advance.
Yeah, it's starting to get concerned as to how many cars we'll have at the end of the race at this point, with how much all contact and stuff that's been going on.
Now we see Jan Paul in the Manthey Racing Ferrari. Manthey Racing Bagu Ferrari, my bad, on the mountain alone, but there is Herrera right behind them in that Bentley approaching, and you don't really want to see a Bentley in your rearview mirrors. It's a scary sight. Like Gary Slater being in these rearview mirrors on this McLaren, and the Ferrari is a bit of a nicer sight in your rearview mirrors. Like, you don't see this massive boat in your rearview mirror that is like, hey. This is more of a gentle hey. So probably Ash is going to be a bit calmer. Gary, never mind. Gary Slater is trying to make a dive bomb.
Although the dive bomb didn't work, that was enough to put it off, taking the corner and slowed them both up. So a bit of an interesting move there from Slater, and probably one could argue wasn't worth defending from Edge. But we'll have to see as we go on board with Edgar Herrera there in that the Bentley, sorry. I'm still remembering the days when they were basically badge engineered cars.
Yeah. And now we see this battle between the Mercedes GT4s on the mountain. This is not really a place where you want to try and overtake, but at the same time, if you can, it's going to be basically a guaranteed position. And speaking of Mercedes, their big brother, GT3, is approaching. That's the leader in the GT3s. What are they going to do? Because they're probably going to do some time on P2. I think that's post P2 right behind them. No, that's Kaito Naza in the Mustang.
Yeah.
Now we see very patient GT3 leader finishing the overtake in a very safe manner. That's what we want to see. Very nice. Oh, Charles Byrne with extra damage on the front. What happened to them?
Not too sure. I think was that.
And that's also the Aston Martin. The Aston Martin that we saw being a passenger in that rejoin from the French driver in the Ferrari. Still not pitting for repairs? Did they not pit for repairs or what?
That's rather brave.
That's weird.
Indeed, that did.
Weird.
Oh, Slater very loose out to Forest Elbow there. Maybe a little bit too eager on power, trying to close down the gap to Edge again there in the McLaren.
Yeah, I think Chernov does have some kind of problems, because I was saying this myself outside of the broadcast view. They're just going slow with their indicators on. Marco Guaiato in the wall. you hate to see it. What happened here?
Was it again
Okay,
somebody taking way too aggressive through McPhillamy Park? Manages to
dirty
hold
tires
on to
here
it,
on the curb. No,
and then too
that
aggressive on
was...
the curbing down the S's
Yeah,
into the dipper. And
yeah, that was always going to hand away for another. Ooh.
That's
And
unfortunate there.
They're trying to, I
think. I believe Jan Paul was having an incident as well.
Yeah.
Currently trying to rejoin on the chase. Apologies.
Yeah, now we keep on seeing Sergei Chernov still driving slowly. I have no idea what is going on here. It's just weird. And right now, this GT3 is slowing down the GT4 traffic, and then we see Zeiss, top of the GT3 field. I think they caught up to Alex Curto, which is the top of the GT4.
I'm not sure.
I think that's maybe a puncture. That may be a puncture. That is weird. Yeah, that may be a puncture.
And yes, you were correct. As we were seeing what was going on with Chernov, that was indeed Ben Zeiss passing the two class leaders passing one another. So
Yikes. Yeah, we see now those two GT4s that were still battling, keep on battling, and then we see Isaac Ambras on Sun KP, but this Chernov really has to forget for them, and I feel bad for them because they were pretty much a passenger in their own car, like completely innocent in that situation. Feel very bad for them, but the race must go on, and we see, that's a pretty battered up BMW.
That's fine. The BMW can take it. I speak from personal experience.
But then the rest of the field is really throwing it down for P10.
Indeed.
That is going to be interesting. And we see... that's Katsuki Sumiri, which is going to probably throw a wrench into some of these GT3's plans in doing a move. Now it's for the next lap.
Yeah. Let's switch over to Steinhaus there. So we were previously on board. So we were riding on board with Dechov still chasing Hutter down there for P2 in GT4. Keeping things sensible over the mountain, as you probably should. No need to get overly aggressive around here. Just save up your run and trial and make it down the mountain in one piece. Through the dipper, down towards Forest Elbow, and just try and nail that exit for the Conrad straight.
To be fair, I think that Dechov kinda needs to get moving in overtaking Hutter, because there is a Camaro right behind them.
Indeed, Sean KP
is coming up fast.
Yeah, Sean KP there, lurking behind, trying to bring down the gap and build the gap away from Own there as well. If you see them all very close side by side.
Hutter is going to send the bus, and good defense from Hutter, but they're going to do so much time to Sean KP. That is going to be not something you want to see, really.
Yeah, in this instance, Deshov trying but not able to commit to the over-under there on Hutter there, who took the defensive line into the chase. Darren Montez parked in pit lane, unfortunately. But yeah, that little bit of rear contact at slow speed did allow the gap to widen slightly between the two.
Yeah. We see now Omet Om serving her mandatory pit stop. I mean, do you think that's a good call? We are almost halfway through the race. Could this be too early, too late?
Considering the chaos of the opening half hour, potentially, but it does mean that her second stint will be rather long, as we see.
They're going to go side by side through here. Ooh, okay. Hutter yielded. And now they has 3 air in front of them, and hopefully can put away, hopefully for them. But now Song has to deal with this pretty difficult to overtake Mercedes. So best of luck to you, Seong. You will need it because doesn't look like there is an easy client to deal with.
No, but the rear of that Mercedes AMG GT4, particularly wide, but
Oh boy, slow Alpine is going to. Yeah, it's going to slow everyone down. That's going to not be a nice one.
yeah,
Is that Meraldi? Yeah, I think that's Meraldi.
that is Meraldi there in the Alpine, the number 5.
And he's going to slow everyone down.
Yeah, really not helpful for the car's front position, which has only extended the gap for Dechov, allowing them to get up to 3 seconds clear of Hutter now. I
mean, Dechov is probably saying thank you very much for all of your help. I really appreciate it.
Probably is a little bit of an accidental thank you, but frustrated nonetheless. So even in your own class, you can have some issues as we see more and more cars start to take their pit stop. DJ overdrive in the pit lane, that also was the Bentley. I don't know if that was certainly any long-winded damage. Xiong decides to pit as well to save arguing with the cars ahead.
Yeah, but also because they don't want to deal with slow traffic potentially. They feel like Hutter might slow them down, so you want to undercut them, get rid of traffic, and then overtake them back once they serve their pit stop.
Yeah, I was just going to say that the undercut can be very powerful if you've got the pace to do so.
Yeah. Biggie Hugs that has yet to serve their pit stop is P31. That's weird. Probably something happened during the race that we didn't catch, considering all that happened. I wouldn't be surprised if that were the case with them as well. That's just Bathurst in a nutshell. The mountain doesn't really take any prisoners.
It really doesn't, no. I'm just going to see if there's anything in Mr. Knight incident sheet here. I don't see anything per chance. Wait a minute, 95? Maybe something later on we can look at once we get through the pit cycle. As Kaito Nasser tries to recover himself and try and find a way past that BMW GT4 there.
Yeah, that is Steinhaus GT4. And we see Kaito Nasser dealing with it very easily in his upper, in the faster car class. But then we see also Isaac Cambras coming right up behind them.
Indeed. So have Technoburst teammates together usually, but not in this event. Hopefully Kaito and Isaac find a good way to let each other pass without too much issue. But then again, I've known Isaac to be fairly patient, so shouldn't be much of a problem between them.
Yeah, like they know each other pretty well, they're good friends. And also they might simp for the same waifu, and one of them might have backed in my DMs, but that's not
that's a conversation for another
day. For this race.
Yeah, I believe that's a conversation for another day.
Isaac Cambras dealing with Kaito Nasa, probably Kaito letting him through. And now Isaac has free air to deal with the mountain, and Kaito can follow right behind him.
Indeed, there's only Alex Curto ahead of Isaac Umbris there, with Castellana pitting on the end of that last lap. Essentially trying an undercut on Zeitz. We'll have to see as Alex trying to survive the way as traffic comes through.
Yes, now we see Shux trying to deal with GT4 traffic. It's not going to be easy, but we see Alex Curto also having to deal with slow traffic. That's Katki Sumiri, if I'm not mistaken. And ahead of them, there is going to be Biggie Hugs. Now we're halfway through the race. Yeah, that was, I mean, halfway point, shower thought. That was a lot. That was really a lot.
Yes, it's been quite a challenging race for us to keep up with, so apologies to the viewers. There's just so much going on, and it's a lot of stuff slowly working itself out.
Now we see also something more like there is really no moment for us to rest. We see Daniel Castellana chasing down Gary Slater on the mountain, but you really cannot overtake here.
Although Castellana has completed their pit stop already, and Gator and Slater has not. Goodness me, I'm getting completely tongue-tied today.
In the pits serving their pit stop, And we're going to see where strategy is going to play here, because Castellana
Indeed.
was able to do the undercut, but found Gary's later ahead of them, and that might have slowed them down by, well, being traffic. It's going to be interesting to see what Gary's later is going to do with Daniel Castellana here. Are they going to let them through? Are they going to defend? What's going to happen? I think Castellana is trying to understand that themselves, but we see that no move is being done. There is no room for a move being done. I see Gary Slater diving into the pits, no, going defensive. But yeah, I think at the end of the day, they let Castellana through.
Yeah, Castellana had a clear advantage there into the corner, so just waiting to...
Oh, that's a long pit stop for Zeitz. And Castellana was able to overtake them on strategy.
Indeed.
Daniel
Although with this pit cycle stuff, that did briefly promote Isaac Umbras up into the lead, so at least he should be happy about any points for leading a lap.
Yeah, and Zeitz...
Little brownie points.
Just
yeah, that was...
the pits.
You are right,
yeah,
that did seem like an
quite
extraordinarily long pit stop from...
Yeah.
Ben Zeitz, yeah, 51 seconds there.
Yikes.
Pit stop versus the 32
damage
of Castellana. So either, yeah, some damage or maybe he took some tyres or something.
It's possible, I guess. Wow, though. Wow.
Oh, as we see, Kaito Nasa. Oh, pointing the wrong way in the Philly.
That is scary.
Goodness. Oh, I thought I'd seen it all.
On the mountain, you will always see a new one. Yeah, Kaito Nasa. Oh, now being traffic for Castellana.
Yeah.
And yeah, Kaito just let them through. Yeah, good thinking for Kaito Nasa. Now there is Gary Slater behind them. Oh, Kaito in the wall. Oh, that was a bonk. Isaac Ambras is pitting right now. Isaac Ambras in the pits.
Yeah. Marshall coming in as well to serve their pit stop.
Yep. I do wonder.
19 second gap currently to Castellana. Just going into the chase as we see Ben Zeitz there trying to just making their way past the Aston Martin.
Yeah,
trying to recover from the unexpectedly long stop.
Yeah, speaking of Zeitz and long stops, are they going to be able to retain the position on Isaac Ambras, or are they going to lose it on him as well? That's going to be interesting. We see Isaac Ambras stay in the pits. Then I'm going to look at myself at Zeitz. Where is Zeitz? Okay, last few corners for Zeitz. They're pretty much there. Isaac Ambras still in the pits. We got Isaac Ambras off the jacks, and he's going to exit the pits. Is he going to be ahead of Zeitz? I think it is. Yes. Yeah. Isaac Ambras ahead of Ben Zeitz. Ben Zeitz losing 2 positions. Ooh, you hate to say it.
Yeah, but still chance, and Zeitz isn't that far behind despite the long pit stop. That has given Castellana a huge lead.
Yeah.
Whilst Zeitz and Umbras on their way through Griffin's Bend, I believe. Oh, as we see Alex Curto stopped in. I'm sorry.
Yeah, that's
stopped in the.
Oh.
Yeah, just in. Oh, backwards and sideways in the dipper.
Yeah, that's not an easy place to get out of. That's yikes. That is bad.
Absolutely not, no. Frightening stuff, but back to the delta we had between Castellana and the Umbras and Zeitz. 24... Yeah. Yeah, as we see Castellana go through into the chase. Umbras has only just left Forest Elbow, so the completely opposite ends of the Conrod Straight there.
Traffic! They do not understand each other.
Yes, the joys of multiclass traffic is understanding each other's intention and reading each other. There are guides
Body
that say how to
language-
do these things, but
Yeah.
it's not always easy to understand someone else's intentions. So this is
Body
where things
language can be
challenging.
pretty difficult to understand, but then we see Zeiss catching up on Isaac Ambras, with the gap being, what, 2.4 seconds, 2.5. So, yeah, Isaac might have some work to do on his hands for this second half of the race.
Yeah. Yeah, 201.5 for Zeitz versus an outlap of 258.2 for Isaac. So, no, maybe not a fair comparison, but
Yeah.
have to see. But the gap's already down from what was like 4 or 5 as Isaac was leaving the pits to now 2.
2 seconds. 2
Things
seconds
will
for
be.
Zeitz.
Things are certainly going to be developing over the race.
Yeah. It's going to be interesting. As we see now, Steinhaus trying to fight for the Bobka for, I think that's P3 class. Yes, that is P3 class. No, wait, no. There is other Spurto. Yeah, my bad. I saw Matrix Zanes in P19, so I thought, wait, Matrix is probably like where the GT3 field ends, because I know that he's in GT3s. So no, he's not in GT3s. That was my mistake. My bad. And yeah, that was a pretty open battle, and now we see Castellana leading the field, and Jan Paul also tucking in his slipstream and overtaking the Jabber Drive. Now they are going to try and take on the last sector in for Bathurst. Is the Jabber Drive going to be able to do anything in Murray's corner after exiting the chase? And Ben Zeitz is right behind Isaac Ambras. As Isaac, that is not a sight you want to see. Ben Zeitz is extremely quick, and I wouldn't want to be in Isaac's shoes. Is Zeitz going to be able to try the dive bomb? Not quite. There. Isaac needs to watch his rearview mirrors. That is not going to be an easy one.
No, especially not with the Mercedes traffic ahead of them there.
Yeah.
Potentially complicating matters for them.
Yeah, the Mercedes traffic is Bern, I think. Yes, it's Bern. Yeah, Zeiss trying the outside, because he's going to be outside for what's called for rebound. But Bern is also going to park himself there. Isaac! I think Isaac slowed down and gave Zeiss the inside. I mean,
yeah.
Good.
Isaac read the situation, decided, nope, I'm just going to play it safe and just follow on behind. He's fast. Maybe they can, work together to catch up to Castellana. As Bern is still holding them up, but not intentionally, just the pace difference between the two cars.
Yeah, still they're going to have to deal with the traffic here. You really never want to deal with traffic. Is that Dabrowka? And yeah, Dabrowka and Bern. Zeiss was able to really send it through behind Bern and avoid Dabrowka, but still there is still going to be traffic ahead of them. As we see here, our beloved Matrix. Oh my bad. That wasn't meant to go Matrix. So we're back to Isaac. As he sees these Zeitz ahead.
As it turns out that Biggie Hugs has had another incident and left the server. Unfortunately, we don't have the replay of that one, but God, it's been absolute bloodbath today around here. Never seen the mountains so thirsty and aggressive.
It is Bathurst, and ACC is notorious for its bumps.
There's this touring between the two Mercedes of sites there, and I believe that was
Bern.
Yeah, Charles Byrne there. Not fighting position, but still
Maybe
give each other a bit of
each other when it
rough
comes
and
to traffic.
tumble. Potentially.
Yeah, wow, that is something.
But that did allow Isaac to sort of close the gap a little bit to Byrne.
Yeah.
He's got the nice long run up the mountain straight towards Griffin's Bend.
Isaac should be able to lap Byrne pretty quickly. I mean, I think he should be able to do so. Like, I know that Isaac has some pretty good pace, and they're also going to have to deal with Omet in that Cayman here on the mountain. Oh, yikes, that's going to be fun. And with fun, I mean not fun at all. Oh, Omet in the wall!
Oh,
Oh no,
goodness me, what
happened
caused
to
the Met to
her?
get loose there?
Oh no, no,
Is
no,
he?
no, 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 no!
Oh, not a rejoin. Not a rejoin you want to see. Was that just
Yeah,
a little, just
yeah,
bullied
just too much
slightly there
speed
by
in
Charles
Salman
Byrne?
Park.
Maybe a little bit of too much ambition. Oh, and
Too much
Isaac,
speed
I
into
didn't.
Salman Park, and the crash
Goodness
avoidance,
me.
like good crash avoidance on Steinhaus, but back rejoin from Omet.
Isaac was also lucky to not get caught up in that because I saw the nose dip from the other camera angle. We were following ahead of them, but behind really pointed out how close that was.
Yeah.
Goodness me.
Well, now we see Edgar Herrera trying to battle it with the Jabber drive. I think that's the battle of the big, chunky V8s in the field. Because those are both V8s. I think that the Bentley, however, is a turbo. Unlike the Lexus, and we see the move from Edgar Herrera. Is he going to... No
Not
move.
close enough to make the move, but just enough to maybe get into DJ's head a little bit.
Yeah. Since he had the Bentley in his mirror, he has the Bentley in his head. And it's pretty difficult to get that Bentley out of your head.
Although, to be fair, knowing DJ, I wouldn't be surprised if all I'm hearing is, I'm thinking, Miku, Miku, ooh, as we see
Yeah,
Pat Kisamiri, after what looks like
holding.
another incident,
That's a
retiring to the
DNF.
pit lane.
Yeah, the mountain is really not taking any prisoners today, is it?
Yeah. People are really struggling with the conditions.
I feel so bad for our drivers, not going to lie. Yeah, and now we see Edgar Herrera following the Jabber drive through the mountain, but there isn't really anything you can do here. Oh, they're going to come upon G-Fox. That's traffic. Oh, that is sketchy. G-Fox being able to keep his line and saying, hey, you do you guys, I'm here, please not kill me. And to be fair to them, it worked out perfectly, and everyone is on their merry way to the next corner. Now we see Egan Dabrowka, Omet and Steinhaus. Oh, what is going on? That was weird, but we are still there as we see Byrne. Oh, no, that was not Byrne. That's another Mercedes that while dealing with traffic did a little bit of a kiss to the wall. That could have been much worse, but luckily it doesn't seem like there was a lot of damage. Oh, Edgar Herrera! Off the track. I think they did brake a bit too late there and just went straight.
Yeah. Apologies for the mixed view here. Some minor technical issues on the producer side, but it should be playing ball now. Indeed we are.
Oh, I did not like the sound of that. Our production might have some trouble.
Yeah, apologies for the confusion there, ladies and gents.
Okay,
no, we'll probably carry on regardless.
I think. And we see Ben Zeitz dealing with the traffic with G-Fox in that Audi. I mean, lone Audi in the field. There isn't a single Audi GT3 in the field. Like, that is the only Audi as a whole. No GT3s, only GT4. Interesting pick from our drivers to not pick the Audi. I mean, it's always a very strong contender, the Audi, is it?
It's a car with a very unique chassis and driving style. One that I know personally from my own experience, but not one that's often racing competition that often nowadays, because of some of the snappy behaviour it can have. If you're riding on board with
Castellana dealing with the other Lexus of Hasri. Yeah. Now going into the chase, with a very comfortable lead, unless they are going to crash. This lead is not going to get given up easily.
No. Although Castellana did go deep on the exit of the chase there. So careful with your words there, Jojo. Don't need any more commentators,
I shall. I mean,
but
to
yeah.
be fair, I've jinxed so many people in the past, I wouldn't be surprised if I did it again, be it on purpose or not. Also, I see car number 9 stopped at... where is that? I think that's cutting. But yeah, we see that our production still has issues. You hate to say technical issues, but there was car number 9. Yeah, there is car
Yes,
number 9 going slow.
Yeah, that was ZNS3 in the BMW M4 having a moment of some description, and that BMW is looking very poorly. It can take a lot, but not everything.
Yeah, that BMW has seen definitely better days. But I said we are not going to be able to show it on the broadcast, and yeah, I think they're pulling. They're pulling out of the race. They're parking it. RC is retiring.
So unfortunately, we don't have a view for you, ladies and gentlemen. But it turns out, we don't have a view about what caused this particular incident. Unfortunately, but for the looks of it, the rear of Esri's BMW was just slightly touched by the Mercedes of... Who is that? I'm really bad at keeping on top of things today. The 666... No, correction. The Mercedes AMG of Charles Byrne. So, fortunate.
You hate to see it.
Yeah, lots of misfortune and chaos surrounding the Continental Circus today.
I mean, it is a circus after all, that checks out.
However, despite all the chaos... Yeah, despite all the chaos though, despite all the chaos that's been ongoing, what's worked out quite well for Castellano in GT3, as well as Alex Curto in the lead of our GT4 class. So for the time being, seemingly having a clean race for them.
Yeah. Castellana really with a very clean race, smooth riding. Not really a lot of problems in qualifying, not really a lot of problems during the first half of the race. Then they were able to get the position on Zeitz, on strategy, and then it's just been smooth sailing ever since. Pretty good for them. Then we see Zul Akihara for a brief second, but yeah, Zul also with, I wouldn't say complete smooth sail, but there wasn't any major drama in Zul's race. Okay, I think we are back. We should be back, hopefully. Ooh. Okay, so from our race control,
we're going old school.
News
we're going
that
old school, ladies and gentlemen.
We need to go old school, absolutely old school. Now we see Adrian Dabrovka in P23 overall. Give me a second. I think they are behind Elucidator in the GT3s. Yeah, Adrian also... what's going on? There is a lot of things going on.
Yeah. Unfortunately, we'll have to go. We'll do this old-fashioned style with the radio-style broadcast, unfortunately. So, closest battles I can see on the field at the moment are the likes of DJ Overdrive and Edgar Herrera there. As trying to ride on board there. With Ian the Terrible.
No,
maybe not his best race.
They started the Giga Chad on the McLaren GT4. And I mean, to be fair,
Maserati.
Maserati, yeah, my bad. Considering how the Maserati GT4 is without ABS, without traction control, good performance from Zed, not going to lie.
Oh, absolutely. Considering they are sat P1, 2, 3, 4, 5 in class at the moment, in a car that basically has no assist whatsoever. That's some good showing by them.
Yeah, very impressive, especially as they were able to keep it in one piece. I think I saw some light damage on the front, some scratches and bumps here and there, but all things considered, pretty good race. Probably a bit boring, but boring races for drivers are usually good ones.
Indeed. So we'll have to play this one out the old-fashioned way, I do believe. So apologies if things get even more scuffed by the end of the race for the last 10 minutes, but based on what we're seeing today with the race, it wouldn't be the only thing.
Okay, we are now. Wait, is that Isaac Hamras with a bonked front of that Mercedes?
I was going to say, where did Isaac? How did Isaac manage that one?
I mean, knowing Bathurst and ACC, probably some bump on the tarmac of top of the mountain, and then things do happen, for better and for worse. Yeah, probably there was some contact, but seems like Isaac is able to keep on going like normal. Oh god. Okay. Yeah, we should still be back to normal, but that's something you hate to see. Now we see Charles Byrne having to deal with traffic on top of the mountain. Yeah, you really. That's one of the worst places ever to have to deal with traffic, especially as that bend. I don't think they understood. They managed to communicate well between each other, because that Mercedes. I think that BMW tried to give the Mercedes space, but yeah, you really need to communicate well. Misunderstandings do happen, and you hate when they do happen.
Yeah, it's definitely just a natural part of racing. We are all human beings, but we'll have to see. Although,
well, we saw some drivers in the pits, like splash and dashes, maybe damage repairs. I mean, considering that Bathurst is probably the latter, but you hate to say it. We are back to Daniel Castellana, that doesn't have the fastest lap. That is Zeitz, I think.
Yeah, Ben Zeitz, fastest lap overall with 201.182, presumably in clean air. I think.
Oh, that was, I think, Hasri going wide.
No, correction. That was a 2 minute 0.840. Nyon running quali pace at the moment with the clean air they do have. Really trying to bring the gap down now to Castellano. They're currently set at 19 seconds, but probably going to be quite a stretch to bring it down before the end of the next 6 minutes.
Yeah, like the only way for Castellana to lose that. I'm not going to say anything. I am not going to say anything.
There are myriad ways, none of which we shall mention. Yeah, there are myriad ways, none of which we shall mention.
Yes.
Goodness sake.
Meraldi that didn't serve their pit stop. Meraldi still without the mandatory pit stop being served. They have to pit now, I think, because otherwise they're not going to be able to. No, they're not pitting. Meraldi doesn't serve their mandatory pit stop, and the pit window is going to close in 50 seconds. Seconds, my bad, seconds. That's plural, not singular, Jojo. So yeah, Meraldi is going to be in a lot of trouble for not serving their mandatory pit stop in the pit window. Yikes. Indeed. Though, to be fair, how do you not do that?
It's but easier said than done sometimes. As we see more chaos between.
Sliding.
Yeah, I'm really riding the life out of that Porsche Cayman there.
Who's that? That's I think RC. RC also sliding to there. Ooh. Turn 1 really catching our drivers off guard.
Yes.
Oh, Zul! Oh. Zul Akihara! Ooh, that's a very sketchy place to lose it. The cutting, and yeah, right now, Meraldi. Without their pit stop being served, there's going probably to be a big penalty for them.
Yeah, the stewards are not going to like that one very much.
Castellana trying to lap Zul Akihara, and yeah, doing it very clearly on the mountain. Daniel Castellana showing us a masterclass in racing, and especially in managing traffic. Really good showing from the German here. Yeah, also good was management from them, and we see now David Ash, the pole on the McLaren, here on the Conroe Straight. Also good race from them. Kun Elucidator. And kind of an anonymous race from them, but as I said before, sometimes boring anonymous races are exactly what you want, because that's a very easy P6. Like, nothing happened to them, and if nothing ever happens, that means also nothing bad ever happens, and as a driver, you really don't want anything bad to you to happen. Speaking of bad things happening, Gary's later having to deal with traffic on the mountain. Like, overtaking G-Fox very easily, but not sure for how long that's going to be easy to deal with the traffic. And we see Isaac Ambers with that slightly bonked Mercedes, 7 seconds ahead of Masha Schurz. Again, in 3 minutes, I don't think you can close down a 7 seconds gap.
Anything is possible, but
yeah,
still,
at the same time,
incredibly challenging.
Yeah. Now we see Sergei Chernov trying to take Isaac Ambers' slipstream. I think they're just going to try and bring it home. Like, if I were in Sergei, I wouldn't try anything on Isaac. They wouldn't be my race, so yeah, Sergei might just want to sit in this slipstream, maybe try and gain some pace by copying Isaac's lines, taking his slipstream, but otherwise there isn't really much you want, and not really much you also can do. Also, Isaac, I think, has all the incentives in the world in having that extra traffic in the middle, and that's fast traffic. So if, by any chance, the other Mercedes Sux was able to catch them up, they will have to deal with fast traffic, and that's... Ooh, Omet and Yandy Terrible in the wall. What happened to them?
Oh.
And we see Omet pulling into the pits with 2 minutes remaining. That's... Oh. Yeah, Yandy Terrible. That McLaren is not trying anymore. That McLaren is not going to be able to keep on going. You hate to see it. Now Edgar Herrera closing on Jan Paul with the Mantai Racing Bagu Ferrari. God. That is something so cursed to say, and the leader is on the final lap. Daniel Castellana is on the final lap.
Yeah. Maybe a challenging first half of the race, but with surprise long pit stop from Zeitz there. Castellana's just managed to take the lead and, for the time being, touch wood, just keep things civil.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, maybe not the fastest on track, but with that lead, you can really manage the gap, and no problem. Like, Zeitz was able to close it to 13 seconds, but you don't really need as Castellana to keep it to 20 seconds. You can just sit there and just let it play through, and not worry about it.
With the time remaining, definitely. Obviously, now we're on the final lap, but even then, after the pit stop, like, you can allow it to trickle down and just let Zeitz get close and close, but not quite get close enough to take the position back.
Yeah.
So it's pace management. Definitely a sign of an experienced driver.
I also don't think close enough to actually see Castellana on track. Because that is, again...
oh, no.
Oh, what happened? Oh, Camaro in the wall. Oh, you hate to see it. And that Camaro was not driving straight. Hold up. That Camaro has seen better days. Yeah, Darren Montage. Ooh, that Camaro is not driving straight whatsoever.
No.
Poor guy. To be fair, the race is almost over, so you just need to carry to the finish. Don't do anything else, just carry it to the finish, as we are going to see Castellana being able to cross the finish line soon. Ooh, Herrera in the wall! Herrera in the wall!
Oh. Skyline out of McPhillamy.
Yeah. And now we see Daniel Castellana being able to finish the race in P1. Really a good masterclass racing
there.
Yes.
Yeah.
Zula Kihara being able to bring it home, and all things considered, P7 wasn't too awful. Then we see Ben Zeiss in P2. That's the mistake because that slow pit stop really ruined the race. We see
Indeed.
Isaac Ambras and Schurz. Yeah, they're pretty close. And to be fair, I don't think the Schurz does have the time to strike.
No.
But at the same time, it's still close enough to do something if
Although
something were to happen.
although speaking of that,
Who was
we
it?
do have. That was the Mercedes.
Of Byrne, yeah.
Yeah. Byrne behind, often.
Isaac on
just taking
Kurto,
the
yeah. Easy, Isaac, easy, and bring it home for that P3. Ooh! Alex Kurto gets the win in GT4s. Very good showing from Alex. And pretty much a very dominating race from them. And we see Meraldi in P25 with that unserved pit stop and 130 seconds of penalty.
Yeah.
Ooh, that is
Stewart's
ugly.
not keen on that one.
So, Song being able to finish the race also, and everyone else is closing it down. What a race! What a race this has been.
Indeed, just waiting now for the likes of Lucidor and Eds and Hutter to finish. And that should be the entire field done.
Yeah.
So goodness me, this has been...
Yeah, GeForce
yes.
in the 666 Saudi, that is going to be the last finish in the race.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, and the final car
no,
running...
it's not stop and go, it was unserved pit stop in the pit window, as our race control was telling us about the penalty, but and like that was an unserved pit stop, or they maybe served it, but outside the pit window, so yeah, you hate to say it. And that is everyone, I think.
It's still saying that... there we go.
Okay, it is over. The first race of the Continental Circus is over, and it's been a circus.
It's been
a pretty big
one
circus.
heck of a circus today, without doubt.
Wow.
Certainly, I wasn't expecting the track to be such a bloodbath. Feel bad for those drivers that we had who had rather large issues and everything else, but that is Bathurst. It is always known to be pretty brutal and unforgiving.
Yeah, especially here on ACC, because with the way ACC handled bumps or bumpy roads like the mountain section here at Bathurst, I think that was some extra deaths that we've seen today that maybe could have not happened on another simulator, but at the same time, ACC is, well, we decided to pick, so that's the rules we have to play by, and ACC and Bathurst together shall not take any prisoners.
Well, I think regardless, it's just the nature of Bathurst and the Mount Panorama being a street circuit. Those walls do bite, they bite hard, and anything in Australia will mess up your day if you look at it funny. So perhaps maybe a fair bit of ambition over adhesion for some of our drivers, but an interesting race nonetheless, and good strategy played by Castellana from P5 to the win.
Yeah.
But that's about all I can think of today.
Yeah, also Ben Zeiss still with the fastest lap with a 2:01.182. Good showing from the German drivers with locking up the top two. Also, one thing I want to point out, the top 6 is all Mercedes and Ferraris. And if Asa, the umpire, didn't have that issue in her race, I think that might have been top 7 also. So Mercedes and Ferrari really showing that they are the class of the field to beat.
Indeed. But that should be all for us for this time, I believe. And where are we back next time for Continental Circus?
We shall be back on April 5th, so yes, next week. Next week we will go at Laguna Seca. Again, another track which can be a bit tight when it comes to multiclass racing. At the same time, our drivers will have a bit more space to go through compared to the mountain. Yeah, this has been the first race of the Continental Circus. Your commentators for today have been Sebastiano Rossi and Dirty Kuhai. And we will see you all for the next week. Have a good one, everyone, and goodbye.
See you next time, see you on the racetrack.